I think I'm gonna get started. Oh man, I've had a long day. I'm not gonna be playing any games today, just kinda sitting and talking about current stuff. The new Valorant agent just got announced, so I was planning on watching the trailers with you guys and talking about how this character is gonna kind of change Valorant in general. I think it'll be fun. And then I saw a video earlier. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. Um, but I'm not entirely sure um, if I'm gonna be able to pull it up. So, but let's start with Valorant. But yeah, as a lot of people probably know, the new character got announced earlier today during the final regular non-finals match, deciding who would take on Leviathan in lower finals. Um, but we've got the agent reveal trailer and official gameplay trailer, and I think that these will be uh, pretty fun. I already saw the reveal trailer, so hoping that's not too loud. You can see if that's where they're gonna be. Can I like change the size? I'm not. Okay, sorry. Let's get to the video. Riot always makes really good animated videos for all of this. Now it's still pretty loud.
It's highly capable and extremely dangerous.
I'm hoping
What
this is
they're
fine.
able to do, it's like there's some kind of
Sorry.
monster. You ready for anything?
I am
Sounds
ready
fun.
for anything.
I'll take the front.
Of course. And I'll be right behind you.
As if you could keep up.
I think it's kind of fun to be able to see how, like, they've probably been chasing this girl for like a really long time, because you can see the immediate jump from the cut there that Jet's really injured. And that's kind of an interesting like pre-concept to what you'd be like expected to do with the character abilities, split people up by having people rush forward when they get hit by the vines and then split off by the wall. And then the character design, I'll get probably more into it later, but the character design is peak for this one.
A little lesson for you and your friends. Don't chase something you aren't prepared to catch.
So much fun.
So spirited.
And like the design and everything. I don't know if we've decided or not if she's a I had the word earlier, but like a thing, like one of the creatures, like one of the wingmans, like not one wingman, but like one of Gecko's creatures. If she's like something like that, or if she's more like Omen or something.
But so hopelessly
Predictable.
Well, come on out then.
It's fun to see those three characters teamed up as well, because you wouldn't expect it as a team up. I mean, Jet and Yoru are always kind of like, yeah, makes sense. But for Chamber's not really someone you'd expect to be teamed up with them, which is always kind of interesting. And then this reveal was really fun. So 2 questions with the ult, and we'll get into that later, cause it like, but does it block Chamber op? That would be really interesting if it does. And then, like, from what it seems like is that because of how the Omen interaction happens in a minute, it seems like even if it's like you only have a pistol, then you won't be affected, which seems pretty okay. So maybe not 2 questions, 1 question. I guess the other question would be how big the radius is on the ult.
Let's talk.
Okay, so I quickly want to get into this helmet. Looks a lot like Wingman. Like this general shape right here. Like it just reminds me the of Wingman. So I wonder if there's gonna be some lore interactions, like voice lines in game. That'll be fun. And then the Vyse gameplay reveal trailer was also a lot of fun. Like, and then I'll watch a video that shows all of the abilities separately, but I think they're all really good. First off, 20-second cooldown. I think this is the shortest cooldown we have in game, except for kill get back cooldowns, such as like Jet and Yoru stuff and Raisnade, because like technically their time limit is limited to how fast you can kill people. So it's not limited to 20 seconds, but like this is cool.
With me.
And something I do like is that it also doesn't force the enemies into their pistols, so if they're not paying attention, then they can end up killing, like getting killed because they grab their primary, like they still have the primary out and they try to shoot you with it and they're not paying attention. Though it's quite obvious, so they try to make it as fair as they can. That ability is really interesting because it's like, it's basically a Killjoy Molly, but they changed it so that only when you're moving you get damaged, but you also get slowed in it, and it has a way bigger radius, but it does like a quarter of the damage. And then this wall is good. I think the wall is really interesting. I think we need to know how long the duration will be. Because if the duration's gonna be, like, if the wall's gonna last like 5 seconds, then even if you can bait it out, I still think it's good, because that's 5 seconds that your team has to rotate over to a site that the enemies are hitting, which is why I think that Vyse is going to be really good.
You get what you fight for.
And as someone who plays in lower rated lobbies, gold, plat, I think that Vyse is actually going to be really good in those ranks because duelists kind of just force themselves into the fight, into sight first, like they should, but they just, like, rushes are super common with, in the lower rated lobbies, so she'll be really good at stopping those.
With me.
Because, like, Deadlock's sometimes okay, but people play around Deadlock way better than you'd normally think they would.
This is our latest agent, Vyse. Will she be absolutely broken upon release, or will she fall in the
One thing I do hate is talk about, will she be overpowered? Will she be underpowered? Because it's like, everyone was like, oh, Deadlock is gonna be overpowered, man. Or, like, ISO, they weren't like that, because everyone was like, well, Deadlock kind of came out underpowered when everyone thought that she would be overpowered. So I guess then ISO's gonna be terrible, and ISO then ended up being terrible. And then Clove was kind of mixed. To be honest, it was like, eh. Um, I think that, to be honest, I think that Vyse will be not overpowered, but definitely a good agent, because like the abilities are just designed very thoughtfully. Like in pro play, you're going to be playing her way differently than in competitive, and in high ranks, you're going to be playing her way differently than in low ranks. But you can transfer the skills you learned from low ranks into the high rank versions, and she's like it's still high on unique, on unique. I don't know why I read ununique. You've arrived. But I really think that Vyse is going to be an interesting agent.
low tier categories
But
like Deadlock and Harbor? Time to talk about it, starting
okay,
with the
low tier categories like Harbor. Have you seen Leviathan play with Harbor? Harbor's not low tier. You're just bad with them.
first ability, Arc Rose. Deploy an invisible Arc Rose, reused to blind all players who look at it, and it can also be redeployed.
I think it's really fun that this is a Sentinel ability. I'm thinking, I wonder if it's like Cypher Cam, where if you use it or you pull it back, you get a faster, or Killjoy Turret technically, it gets a faster timer than if it gets destroyed. And if it gets destroyed, then you have a longer timer, like a 45, because it's a 20-second timer for reuse,
You can
but
also right click or alternate fire
eh.
so it goes through the wall, so you can place it where you're looking or behind the wall
But
you're
the flash
looking
is
at,
pretty
and
good. It's
then
kind of
you
like a breach
activate it,
flash,
and
but
boom, it
eh.
basically sets up a flash. Now, honestly,
I think that this ability is really nice with the other abilities that she has. It's a very nice combo tool. And because you can place it through walls, she's not entirely useless on attack. You can um, change how you're using your flash, whether it be you place it through a wall one round, and then the next round you're placing it up top high like a cam, and using it to flash high, or and stuff like that. I think that'll be really interesting to see how
this is
that
unique. This is a
evolves.
new mechanic. Not only are you setting a flash to be deployed, but you can choose to deploy it where you're looking or behind the wall you're looking at. This is actually really cool, similar to
And it looks like there's also a reset there, so people have a chance to destroy it once they're unflashed, which I think is a nice way to balance it so that you can destroy it so she doesn't just
a
continuously have
breach
it up.
flash that can just be set up as a trap. This is unique, and I absolutely love that it is unique. Will it be any good or strong in the game? To be honest, yeah, I think her signature ability
Good, yeah, not strong. Also, I'm a little confused on how you activate it because the the Instagram, like the Valorant Instagram, specifically says reuse to. Yeah, okay. Say that in 1v1 me. I'll own you with Vyse. Trust. But the flash will be the the graphic on Instagram says that you need to reuse the ability in order to activate it. So I don't know why they constantly show Vyse looking at the flash to activate it, because you can also pick up the ability like a cam, like a cipher cam. So that's a little interesting. I wonder if it was an early concept and they're just using the footage from it since it's so similar.
Ability here is fantastic. When it comes to the exact timers, can it be broken, etc., we don't fully know. Based off how it looks when it's deployed, I'm gonna say yes because it's invisible after it's deployed, meaning
Yeah, but it has a reset period, so it's not like you can like destroy it before it,
if you're
like
throwing, it's not meant to be thrown as
it's
like a
not
duelist or initiator.
broken
Meaning, if you
broken,
throw it and the enemy spots you
you
setting
know.
it up similar to a cipher cam, they're gonna flick. It's gonna be gone. It's just gonna be fully wasted. So you have to actually use it in a smart sense, which does
But
make it a
also,
different flash compared to
it's also a
everyone else because it has
fast-ish
to be set
flash
up
if you know how you do
completely
it.
differently. It has to be
But yeah,
used
it's a
completely
setup
differently,
flash, which I also
especially because I
a character idea concept that I've always thought would be interesting is an agent that had a flash trip, and I guess this is probably the best way you could implement that because like, how would you make a trip that flashes you balanced? If it's just a straight up trip and you walk next to it and it flashes, that's kind of dumb and useless because it's going to flash behind the person who steps in it. So I guess the best way you would do it is by um, pretty much by having the like have it pop out somewhere else is probably how you would like have it work, or it would be an ability that like it blinds the people behind the entry, so it's very similar to the wall. I don't think she'll be a broken character. I think she'll be a relatively balanced character on release. The only annoying thing will be her ultimate, which people will complain about, and then it'll probably get nerfed to 9 ult points instead of 8, and then they might change the size depending on how big the radius is. Um, I would say that's really the only thing, because it's like the other abilities are like relatively fine. There's not anything broken or
believe, not
over
confirmed, I believe it can
underpowered.
be broken just because it's a trap and it's set up as a sentinel. But overall, I don't think this is going to be overpowered in any way, but I think it's going to be a fun ability to
I don't
use.
think she'll
Nothing
be
too
overpowered
crazy
at
to
all.
counter. I think it's a fair ability as well. Overall, well designed. We can also see a 20-second cooldown in this clip once the flash
Yeah,
is
20
initiated, so it
second
is
cooldown.
recharged.
The 20-second cooldown part is kind of the interesting part because like 20 seconds on a cooldown for a flash, it's not an info tool, so you don't get info from it. In fact, she isn't even an info character compared to all the other characters, Sentinel characters. The only other Sentinel character that isn't information based would be Sage, because Chamber has a trip, Cypher has a trip, Deadlock has a trip, KJ has her alarm bot, and Vyse has the wall, but the wall just isn't uh like the wall isn't designed to be a trip. It's designed to be an isolation tool to get 1v1s
Chargeable
basically,
every 20 seconds, which inherently on
to
its own
confuse the team,
makes
to
it
stop the
pretty
hit,
strong. I think
to
it
stop
does make it
the
fair just
flood
because,
retake.
again, you're not throwing it through a wall like a breach flash to take insane fights. There's some thought process. It probably needs to be placed with some foresight, and because of that, it will help balance it. So I'm gonna say fair, well-designed ability.
Why'd I do it like that? I thought I just left it full screen. Sorry.
That leans strong, but nothing overpowered so far. The next ability, Sheer. Set a hidden trap that spawns a
This one I'm gonna find interesting. I want to see how it works, but I, it's something I hope. I hope that there is a possibility for some stupid Abyss plays with uh with the wall, because it'll just be really funny. At the end of, oh, you're talking about this thing,
in fights, there's some thought process. It probably needs to be
that thing.
placed
She
with
places that,
some
and yeah,
foresight, and because of that, it will help balance it. So I'm gonna say fair, well-designed ability.
so what this does, he'll get into it later because he's explaining all the abilities, but what this does here is it's basically a Killjoy Molly mixed with a Sage Slow. Both of the effects have been, like, the damage and the slow have been decreased by a lot, but the combination and the area of effect size is um really good. Like, you can see this is way bigger than any Killjoy Molly that you've ever seen, but it's also, like, it's about the size of a stage slow, I would say, but both effects are half, and you only get damaged when you're moving in it. So it keeps you stationary if you don't want to get damaged, or, like, and yeah.
That leans strong, but nothing overpowered so far. The next ability, Shear. Set a hidden trap that spawns a brief, indestructible wall when triggered by the enemy.
Yeah, the combo potential with her own abilities is insane, but I'm also thinking, like, on Abyss, you could, like, have this wall be, like, someone pushes past the wall, and then everyone else trying to jump after them runs into it and falls off the map. Or one that I thought of earlier was a wall just right next to Hookah, and the first person to run out of Hookah triggers the wall, and everyone else who comes out of Hookah has to run around the wall, and you have a Raze or something, or somebody, throw their nade in between Hookah and this wall and get massive damage, even possibly kills. Plus, like, your vines, like your KJ mollies, honestly insane potential with this character.
Enemies. Okay, so this one is weird. So the way it's portrayed.
We don't know how long the wall will last. A lot of people are thinking 5 seconds. Um, um, some people, like, it kind of depends on how long it will last, will depend on how good it is. If it's a long lasting wall, like upwards of 10, 15 seconds, which would be insane, I'm gonna be honest. Like, even 10 seconds sounds insane. Like, even the counterplay that you have for this, which is a Yoru clone, or, like, because it takes a second to activate. If you look at this clip here,
Destructible wall when triggered.
like, she's well past it before it even goes up, which means that, so I'm think yeah, a quick fight is at most probably, but I'm also thinking, like, the counterplay that people will be doing is activating it and then backing up if they end up seeing the trap, which there's probably going to be some indicator, and then they can back up and then the wall will go up. If it's upwards of 10 seconds, that's actually insane, because what'll happen is that your whole team will rotate over, the wall will drop, they'll go for a hit, and then, like, you just lose because you're running into a 4 stack. But if it's like 5 seconds, I think 5 seconds is probably gonna be the key time here. So
This one is weird. So the way it's portrayed in the trailer, for example, is to sort of force your enemies to commit to a site, or at least
the way he's describing it is a little bit, in my opinion, wrong, because what's most likely going to be happening is in lower ranks, it'll be a Raze, a Jet, maybe both duelists, especially if there's a Yoru who hit site. You solo them, and then the enemy team no longer has their entry tools, and they're, like, torn apart and can't hit site. If they're doing really good splits, it'll be a bit harder, but you can also have another teammate with you, and you'll probably be fine.
trap or isolate your enemies. So a lot of times it's showing the duelist come in, and then that wall
Yeah,
basically divides
duelists
the
come in,
duelist
and then
coming in
you get
first
them.
with the team following up. This can
Also, I kind of like the way the classic looks. Not gonna lie, it looks pretty clean. Not like the best classic skin, but honestly, I wouldn't mind copying this up. Yep, pretty much that's what it's gonna be. Is that people like Raze are gonna rush in, get caught by the wall, and then they die.
Conceptually is kind of cool, right? If you think about it, this is again something unique, something new to Valorant. Indestructible, meaning you cannot shoot it, so the enemies are forced to wait at the timer, which sort of makes sense. It's likely a short
Now, I am a little bit confused on what this is. Will this also activate the wall if an enemy hits it, or I, like I don't know what this like UI for Vyse is, because I presume an enemy doesn't see this. So I am
timer, something in
interested
5
in
or 6
seeing what
seconds,
this
but
is
enough
for,
to isolate the duelist. So
because it
let's say
disappears
you hear
as
jet
soon as
dash
the
in,
wall goes up.
you've placed your wall goes up, you initiate your blinds, and you take an advantageous fight against Jet, picking off the duelist. That's sort of the point. It's isolation and division. When it comes to the strength of the ability, however,
Depends on how far Race can get in, because with the next ability coming up, if she ends up if she does a bunny hop through one of them, she'll get slowed and she won't get into sight properly all the way, or get close enough to finish people off with a bucky, or even a judge or a shorty.
this is really hard to answer because it actually depends on how obvious it is that there's a trip. Like, you know how you sort of start building tolerance to knowing where cipher trips are? So maybe shooting them or playing around them, but it didn't
I'm gonna
diminish
wait
how
for him to
strong
finish
they are,
saying
if that
this
makes
until
sense.
I say
However, I
something.
wonder types of counterplay that are possible with this. Let's say a Yoru TP to get past it. That could be
So, counterplay. What's all the counterplay? Well, Yoru Clone. Yoru Clone activates every single trip in the game. Every single one. Um, so if it doesn't activate the wall, that would be insane. That would be broken. Because Yoru is basically the Sentinel counter agent. TP, obviously, for Yoru, technically Chamber, but I'm not gonna say that because, like, you're way more vulnerable if you do it with Chamber. Neon Slide could allow you to get past it, like, really far. Um, but Neon isn't really gonna be any counterplay. You could maybe do a backslide if they, like, increase the speed of the wall, so the only thing that could get you past it is like an updraft or but like Jet and Raise Blast packs are gonna be really good if you're able to get on a box or something. Even if you can't get over the wall, then as Omen you could teleport past it. So yeah, there's a lot of abilities to get past it, but the main counterplay is going to be activating it and waiting for the timer to run out.
kind of cool. A clone to trigger it, and then later the entire team goes together. That could be past it. I wonder if your entire team can kind of bundle up close and then
And and for those just coming in, like I said, I really like the design of the agent because like this headpiece, like this head design reminds me a lot of Wingman inside of Gecko's kit. Like I just see Wingman in the helmet. I'm not sure if she's like Omen, a human turned into this like not fully human form, or if she's like fully not human or whatnot.
bundle up close and
But
then jump, let's say in their own examples, out of heaven together. So it gets triggered, but you're flooding sight. It's really going to depend on all these factors. But even the examples I'm giving are niche. It's actually going to depend even
she's
more
not a
so
robot.
on
She's not a
interaction.
robot.
So we need to know interaction. So how close do you have to get? How obvious is it when it's unveiled? How well is it hidden
I
basically?
also want to know how long the wall is. Does it stretch to like does it stretch really far, or does it have a limit? Like I kind of want to know that.
And can it be broken? You know what I mean? What can we actually do? Once shear is down, what can someone do with
We
it?
don't
You know what I mean?
know
What
what it
can an
looks like from
enemy
an
do
enemy
about the
perspective
fact that a shear is
yet.
down? That's gonna simply decide how strong it is. Because conceptually, it actually sounds balanced, and then it's gonna lean towards weak or strong depending on all the other factors that we don't know about. Her next ability, Razor Vine, launch a
Razor
Razor
Vine.
Vine nest that becomes invisible when activated.
So very much like a KJ Molly, you throw it, it ends up invisible after a second. This one, it turns invisible way faster. I'm wondering if you can destroy it or not. Who knows?
slows and damages enemies. So
But it
very,
slows and
very,
damages
very
enemies. Now, here, 100%, 100 health, despite the fact that she's been in it for a solid second. But as soon as she starts moving,
similar to a nano
damage. It doesn't do a lot of damage quickly, but it does damage and slows you.
swarm
Very
all
good
around.
for area denial.
A damaging invisible
Um,
molly that you can trigger.
in fact, it's actually a good combo tool with something like a raise nade or something, because then it's guaranteed damage. Unlike like a fade grab or deadlock grab plus nade combo, um, which you're probably gonna get some chip, not a kill, but you're going to like be able to slow them, and they're gonna be running past and getting chip damage from the nade and the vines, which will be really fun. I know it's probably cut off a little bit, and I wasn't really able to properly. Uh, I could raise it up a little bit. Oh, that's it. Because it does the stupid thing when it yeah, I forgot that it did that stupid thing when it goes from full screen to not full screen, and then it's just the software I'm using. This decided to be like this. But yeah. There we go. Now it's not as bad. But yeah, so
Trigger. It also slows down
like
the enemies. I actually think there
you'll
isn't
see it
too much
here.
to
Again, no damage.
talk about. I assume very
It starts
similar to
getting
a
damaged.
molly.
It's not a lot of
It's gonna be
damage,
great for post
but
plant, but people can shoot it out. There's gonna be ways to hide it better.
now
But I
you
think it's
can see.
basically its balance and strength level is going to be identical to Killjoy's molly. I'm not gonna.
Balance and strength level identical to KJ's. No, not really. The reason why is because KJ's mollies are really good for plant denial. This is good for area denial. There's kind of a difference there. Like if you start planting and then this activates, you're not worried because you're not going to get damaged. Like the slow won't affect you because you're standing still, and you're not going to get damaged because you're standing still. So it's kind of
Lie. That's how I am seeing it. It does inherently slow, so that Killjoy kind of
so.
tends to combo them. So
Eh.
turret shoots you, slows you, tags you, slows you even more, and then you pop the molly, etc. But overall, the fact that it slows probably means it does some less tick damage than Killjoy's molly. I think this
You
is
can
good,
also see it in the
solid,
video.
not too much to
So
talk about. I don't want to complicate it because meta-wise, strategy-wise, it's gonna be very similar. Like some nuances, but very similar to Killjoy's molly. And now we go to the fun one. All right, Steel Garden, unleash a
now
torrent.
something that I've seen pointed out is that this ultimate, you can actually see it like even on these palm trees way back here. It looks like the radius on this is huge, but we don't know what the exact size is. Once we figure out what the actual size is for this, I think we'll be able to determine if it's broken or not. Like actually broken or not. Because if it's really big, or even if it's just every single enemy on the enemy, every single person on the enemy team, which I doubt, I'm pretty sure it's an area effect.
Of metal thorns that jams nearby enemies' primary weapons
Like,
after
see, Jet cannot use her primary,
wind up. Okay, this one
but she can use her secondary. And if you only buy a pistol, you can still use your secondary. I presume that if you pick up a gun, while you have this sort of effect on you, then your primary is still going to be jammed when you pick up a gun. Like if you get a kill with like a sheriff and you upgrade to a primary, your primary will still be jammed if you're on a save round. So we don't actually know, but keep that in mind.
is super interesting to me. At a base level, it is a new mechanic, right? We've never had anyone who stops primary guns. That is extraordinarily niche, and it's actually something that needs to be properly dissected. Because let's look at it at face value. In a 1v1, you can pop this ultimate to make sure it's pistol.
And like, I think that this ability is going to have a lot of hate because like that's what happened with KO's ult. People are like, oh, abilities are the core of the game, taking those away. But like, there needs to be a character that takes them away because A, the main fundamentals of the game are guns. So like, you should be able to use them anyways. But also like, um, shooting, like, people rely on their abilities so much that as soon as they're taken away, it gives you an advantage, and a character that gives you an easy advantage is really nice. And what I'll also find interesting is if certain characters also can't use their ultimate because of this. Like I said earlier, like Chamber ult, will Chamber be able to use his ult if he gets hit by this? Because it's technically a primary weapon. In fact, it's considered the strongest weapon you have, so it auto equips to your like your ultimate. Um, Jet knives, neon ult, not really Raze ult, even though you can like switch between your primary and secondary. Raze ult is on a timer compared to the other ones, which can be reset on kill or chamber literally just getting an up.
Versus Vandal. And often, if it's full buy, they'll have a classic. Some people are going to say, oh, if Vyse.
I've kind of seen this bit already, and yeah, I don't think there's too much to go over now. I think that the character is going to be really fun to play. I don't think she's going to be the strongest. I don't think she's gonna be like the like I don't entirely know, but she's not gonna be overpowered, and people are going to say she is because they don't like the fact that they get their guns taken away.
I mean, yeah. I'm probably gonna end stream here. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.